Hello, welcome to Adult Production and Kath TV. Our program today is about treatment, not trauma. My guest today is Kathy and Curtis. My name is Emily. Glad to have you here. I have some questions for you. Can you tell me about yourselves?
I'm a 70-year-old person who's experienced mental illness since the age of 14. I've been in institutions. I've been without services a lot, and I survive by being an activist.
That's nice. Can you tell us about yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Curtis, and I have been dealing with various of mental health issues since the age of 6. I wasn't diagnosed with mental illness until later on in my life.
Okay. I have a question for you guys. What role has the city of Chicago played in creating the crisis in the mental health? What role has the city of Chicago played in creating the crisis in the mental health?
I don't think the city has created the crisis. What the city has done is not treat the crisis. People experience trauma for various reasons, for violence, for mental illness, for homelessness, for being in prison and coming out and not having transitional services. The city is not addressing it. They're not giving services. That's their role, and they're not playing it.
Yeah. Do you have something to say about
The city created even more crisis by closing 7 mental health clinics and have not even bothered to reopen them.
Oh, okay. Why did they close city-run public health clinics that serve people with mental illness? Has that made things better or worse?
I was a client at the first mental health clinic that closed. And I want to tell you that I got the best services ever. I've been in a lot of places, and I got the best services ever at the mental health clinic. I live in Rogers Park, far Northside, and I had a little story about the closing of the mental health clinic. The alderman up there at the time, Joe Moore, he decided a week after the mental health clinic closed, 1 block away, he had a big to-do about growing $5 million worth of flowers on Howard Street. It was like a slap in the face. I went bananas. And I called everybody I knew, and we had an action. We had a funeral for our mental health clinic, and we made sure that every time the cameras were on Alderman Moore, that one of us was in the picture. We had great black veils on. We had black flowers. We did a lot of mourning type behavior, and he did not get one piece of good thing. He had bulldozers there and everything. I started climbing on the bulldozers, and I thought maybe I was going to get arrested, but no, they were good because Jan Tchaikovsky was there, and she's pretty good about mental health and health in general. So that's my story about my clinic. The idea of closing the clinics was to save money. Now, I just want to know how $5 million worth of flowers is worth more than a mental health clinic. I'm sure the clinic could have stayed open at least another year for $5 million.
Wow.
The city has misplaced their priorities on investing money into the Cops Academy, and Lori Lightfoot used the COVID money from the federal government to spend on police instead of investing into resources like clinics, education, and social workers for whenever someone is in a crisis.
Okay. So, what is the disability community's stake in this situation?
They're fighting for a better treatment and no trauma, which means available to 911, the new 988,
Okay.
and new 211.
About 988. 988
What
is
do you mean by 988? What do you mean by that?
a 988 would be the number that a person would call if a person is having a mental health crisis. Instead of calling 911 and having a policeman come out and maybe shoot you to death because it's happened. It's happened. I don't have the exact figures about it. Do you have stories, Curtis? I don't know.
Yeah, Laquan McDonald is one.
Yeah.
Laquan LeGrier is the one who got shot when he asked the officer for help. We had a meltdown. We had a baseball bat with his father.
Okay. You see. Why is trauma a significant issue? How do you address the increasing occurrence of trauma? Who is the most affected youth? People of color, home people?
Mostly people of color are affected by trauma. When they experience a crisis, it has to deal with the police officers. And what they do is they take them to emergency room hospitals or incarceration. And worse, they shoot.
People of color have a particular brand of trauma with violence in their communities. And I went to a workshop once on the southeast side, and they were telling stories about how the police had shot people, and they don't even clean up the blood on the street.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? How disrespectful is that? I mean, and it's unhealthy. Having blood in the street, I'm telling you, it's unhealthy. And now during the pandemic, I'm paying more attention to
So
things.
you want them to clean the blood or the street?
Yeah, they shoot people and leave.
Actually, yes, you're right. That's their fault.
Yeah.
Shooting people and then they
Yeah.
should leave. They should clean up their blood.
Yeah, or the Department of Health should come out and clean it up. It's a health hazard.
I love your point.
Blood is dirty.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Blood is dirty. So I
Okay.
believe it. It's also life.
Okay. How is the community organizing to address this lack of treatment? How is the community organized to address the root causes of trauma? Racism, violence, economic insecurity, other forms of discrimination.
Oh, it's such a big question, Emily. Oh, big question. The community, and people with disabilities in general, people who don't have homes, people who are coming out of prisons who aren't being followed. They're supposed to get mental health care, and sometimes they'll give them a bus ticket to get to their appointment, and like they may use a bus ticket to get home or go shopping. They don't get their treatment. They're not followed, and I'd say the system should do it.
Okay. You have something to say?
Huh?
What about you? What is your answer? How is the community organizing to address this lack of treatment? How is the community organizing to address the root causes of trauma? Racism, violence, economic insecurity, other forms of discrimination.
They continue to discriminate against people of color.
Oh, okay.
And what we want to do is see a city invest into those resources to give them the help that they need.
Is the lack of treatment
Yeah.
related to our health care system?
Absolutely, absolutely. Treatment works. Recovery is possible. Uh, some people have an idea that treatment for mental illness is you see a psychiatrist, you get some medication, and that's it. That's how you live your life. You wait for your next dose of medication, you wait for your next appointment for the doctor. That's not life.
Yeah.
There's more. Recovery means to lead the best life possible that you can, and there's more to life than that.
Okay. Is the lack of treatment related to our health care system?
Yes, it is. It's a systematic system which oppresses people of color.
Okay. Is this issue a public health issue, a political issue?
Yes, it is.
Why?
Because our elected officials is ignoring the root of this cause. And they are spending their money on other resources, like high rises in downtown Chicago near Northside, near Southside. And they're leaving the rest of people of color in polite.
Our city just continues the idea of stigma, that people with mental illness are dangerous, for one thing. And the statistics prove that people who have mental illness are more likely to be victims of violence than to be violent. When people are acting out on the street, say, and talking to themselves and yelling, if they're talking to themselves and yelling, are they hurting anybody? No.
I think the thing is like this. If they talk themselves too much, some people think that they are better.
Yeah, and it's very possible. It's very possible that they're hallucinating. What's happening in the city is people aren't getting treatment. So all these crises keep increasing and increasing, and the more it happens, the more it snowballs. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm on the community mental health board, and I was on a meeting last night. A pilot program is supposed to be rolled out in July, and with 4 teams of crisis intervention specialists. There'll be 1 or 2 teams with just professionals, mental health professionals, and 2 teams with a professional and a police person. Now
what is the difference between?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure where the police teams are going to go. I assume they're going to stigmatize neighborhoods and put the police in neighborhoods that are considered violent. What Lori Lightfoot has decided, in all her wisdom, the first thing she did when she rolled out this program was to create 3 more police positions on the 911 call to handle mental health calls. What do police know about de-escalating somebody in a crisis?
Wow, yeah.
They know how to do military stuff. They know how to boss people around. They know how to kill people, and their training has nothing to do with dealing with mental health crises.
Yeah, I think they should create a program for mental health crisis, so that the policemen and women, they don't come and interrupt, because for them they are doing the different work.
Imagine if you're a person who's has a mental health crisis. You're in a family where the police have shot one of your loved ones to death, and you're in a crisis, and a policeman responds to your crisis call. Do you think that's going to help de-escalate the crisis? Which can be, de-escalation is the key, and police need a lot of help. They don't know how to de-escalate. They're just military type people and boss people around and pull out their weapons. It doesn't help. That doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
We want, the community wants professionals out there de-escalating the crisis. There's a wonderful, wonderful crisis intervention program called Cahoots out west in one of the western states, and it has a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful crisis intervention center. It's a mobile thing. People go in a van, professionals go in a van, and they go out and they do whatever they have to do in a crisis. And it's been so successful. I want to know, the city of Chicago, the 3rd biggest city in the United States, why can't we do that? Why can't we do that?
That's true. How has COVID-19 affected issue? How has COVID-19 affected issue?
A whole lot. Because the COVID-19 pandemic exposed a lot of disparity among people of color in seeking mental health care.
COVID-19 has first of all caused people to stay in. And I got to say, I think people who have been in treatment for mental illness have kind of weathered the storm better than people who haven't experienced any kind of coping skills. Therapy is about coping with your life, coping with what you have. And there were no services during COVID-19. You
Yes.
couldn't go to your doctor, you couldn't do anything. And so the shutdown was disastrous. It increased the stress in the entire community, every community, worldwide. People don't seem to realize it's worldwide. This is a big issue. And now that we're opening up again, I'm just thinking about just still getting a doctor's appointment. We have had telehealth. We've been able to do some therapy on the phone. I've been doing that. And it's worked out for me just fine because I don't have to run around so much. I like it. But for a lot of people would like to talk to somebody face to face because we're human beings and we have a need to belong.
Mm-hmm.
And COVID shut it off.
Yeah. Okay. Is this issue connected to other campaigns like Black Lives Matter? For defund the police, abolish prisons, or no cops in schools?
It absolutely. It's so important. People with mental illness have been stigmatized, and that means that people put labels on them that may not be true at all. That people are violent, that people need to be kept down, that people aren't worth anything. Listen, there's a lot of that. People are discounted. All of the things that you mentioned are groups that demand respect. We demand respect. We demand dignity. And we're going to get it. We're going to get it because we have no choice. It's a matter of survival, ma'am. Emily, survival, dignity.
Yes. So this one, what treatments can be used to address trauma?
Seeing your social worker, the therapist, psychiatrist, or a nurse practitioner to get your medications and to go to their peer structure groups. In a crisis, there's a living room in Skokie. And Thresholds recently opened up a living room last year, which is much cheaper than going to an emergency room, hospital, or jail.
I'm so glad that Curtis brought up living rooms.
Yes.
People don't know what living rooms are. And living rooms are de-escalation, mental health.
What do you mean by de-escalation?
They're called living rooms mainly because they're facilities that have like couches and furniture and a homey type atmosphere. So a person in crisis will go there with peer support specialists. A peer support specialist is a person who has been down the road with mental illness. They have recovered and they are continuing in recovery. Recovery never ends. It never ends. It's like, making a better life for yourself. They know where you've been, and they're easier to talk to. They know how to talk to you with dignity and respect and talk you down from your anxiety or whatever's going on. My problem has always been about thinking that life just isn't worthwhile, and I just want to end it. And I've tried many times. I stopped doing that now. I obviously don't do it very well. I don't know. But life, to me, people who say they want to kill themselves, maybe somebody needs to talk to them.
Yes. So what causes them, if they say I want to kill myself, what causes them to say that?
It's just a feeling of being, for me, a feeling of being overwhelmed, of feeling worthless, of having no reason to be alive. I'm not doing any good. That's what was going on in my head. That's just one kind of crisis that will come up. Now trauma, and that's traumatized, and I kind of developed that from being traumatized by my parents who told me I was worthless. You know, you get programmed into these things. A peer support specialist probably went through something like the same thing, or have seen enough people who understand that that's what's going on. You go to an emergency room, and you say, I want to kill myself. I want to kill myself. And what they do is they put you in a room with a mattress on the floor, and that's it. That's it. Sometimes they take your clothes, or if they're afraid you're going to choke yourself, or I don't know what they think you're going to do, and you sit there for hours, sometimes days, because they don't have professionals to come in and talk to you, to give you medication, it's crazy. Now that's crazy. That's crazy.
I think they have. I forgot the name of the people who come and told them to come down.
Yeah, the de-escalation
Yes.
type people. Yeah, they're therapists, they're professionals, and peer support specialists are professionals. They are licensed, they are trained, they continue with their training, and they deal with people like me, maybe like Curtis. Anybody who's having a really hard time needs, and you can tell that I kind of get kind of
Yes.
animated. Sometimes I just need to talk to somebody, and they calm me down. They know what to do. They know what to do. The police don't know what to do. The police
I think
don't know.
I think you are right, but I think some police they know what to do, but they don't have time.
No, it's not their job. To be honest with you, it's just not their job, and they shouldn't be asked to do something that they're not even trained for. That's my humble opinion.
Okay, if you said that it's not their job, then why are they shooting if it's not their job?
That's all they know how to do. That's what they're trained to do. They're trained by military people. Come in and teach them, how to keep the peace. You just get rid of the annoyance. That's it. That's I think what goes on in their mind. I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't know, because I'm not a vet slaver. But because I'm a nag. And it's like a lot of people would want to say, "Shut up, sit down." Yeah, that's not dignified.
Thank you so much so much, Kathy and Curtis, for coming today. I really love your points. The points are very, very good.
Curtis, thank you, Emily. God bless you.
God bless you.
Same to you. This is a production. Thank you all the guests.